Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, today, back again doing another mock draft. But before I start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to click the subscribe button that's at the bottom right or at the bottom of your screen. You're gonna have to go out of the video, look down, click that subscribe button, click the notification bell to get notified for every single video I make. But today, we are doing a redraft, obviously a mock draft, a 14 team at pick 14 PPR mock draft. So the roster positions are 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, flex, defense, kicker, and 6 bench spots. So we're on Fantasy Pros Draft Wizard. So let's get right into the video here. Boom. Your draft is loading. Alright, we ain't buying that pro shit because we broke. Alright, let's do it. Alright, so the first pick of the draft is, let's do it. You pick those up. The first pick is Saquon Barkley, followed by Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, Michael Thomas, David Johnson, Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Chubb, Le'Veon Bell. Out of that, this beginning of the draft seems pretty typical, other than the fact that Todd Gurley was picked. Don't pick Todd Gurley in the first round due to his knee injury. I wouldn't pick him in the first round, the second round, the third round, or even the fourth round due to his arthritis of the knee. That means that it's going to even get worse over time, and I'm not entirely sure how well they're going to use him this year. He could end up finishing as a top 12 running back. That's entirely possible. But do I want to waste first round draft capital on a guy with arthritis of the knee? No, I do not. So it is our pick here at 14. Now, in a 14-team league, I would tell you that drafting a guy like Travis Kelce is not as important because the positional advantage at tight end doesn't matter as much when your tight end is pretty much always going to be better than the other guy's tight end if you draft Travis Kelce. But at the same time, your running back is going to be significantly worse than their starting running back or their starting receiver because you drafted Kelce so high. So we are going to be going running back here, and probably a guy who I could see being probably not top 5, I guess, but he's definitely going to be top 10, and that's Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon plays on Cincinnati. Obviously, Cincinnati is not a great team, but he showed off last year that he is the man. He's a runner, and he can do that. Obviously, Giovanni Bernard is on the team, so he will take some touches, but that's not something I would necessarily worry about. I wouldn't even worry about the injury to. They drafted an O lineman this year, and he got hurt. But I wouldn't worry too much about that because even with not that great of an O line, he still did really good in fantasy last year. So I'm gonna go Joe Mixon here. After we go Joe Mixon, it's looking like all the quarterbacks are still here. There's some good receivers here. All the tight ends are here, but I do think I want to go running back because in a 14-team league, getting 2 great running backs, in my opinion, is going to matter so much more than having uh, a good running back and a great running back and a great wide receiver, because running backs do get injured most likely, and having a lot of running backs that are good on your team is going to be beneficial, and having 2 guys that I think are going to be top 10 guys starting off the draft with that is very ideal. So also, what's it called? If this was a 3 wide receiver draft, then I would probably go Joe Mixon and Juju, or Joe Mixon and Julio Jones. Probably Joe Mixon, Julio Jones. But since it's not a 3 receiver league, that would not do that. So it's our pick. And like I said, we're gonna be focusing on running back here. So James Conner, Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette are the guys, and Damian Williams are the guys that are available that people would probably be looking at this position. Personally, I'm not trying to draft Dalvin Cook or Leonard Fournette due to their injury history in the past. Dalvin Cook even more so than Leonard Fournette. And if you draft Leonard Fournette or Dalvin Cook, you need to make sure to get their backups. I'll show you their backups later in the draft. But the 2 guys I'd be looking at here at the 15th pick is probably either James Conner or Damian Williams. I would go James Conner here because I think James Conner has more upside of being like a top 5 guy, whereas I don't really see that in Damian Williams. But I do think Damian Williams will probably obviously be a top 10 guy, and he's a guy I do target a lot in my fantasy drafts. So we are going to be going with James Conner of the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Now, it's kind of complicated to follow on the left side of the draft log, so that's why I pull up the draft board to easily make it easier to figure out. So just follow here where my mouse is. So after we pick Joe Mixon and James Conner, Julio Jones, Juju Smith-Schuster is picked, followed by Damian Williams, Travis Kelce, Antonio Brown, Zach Ertz, Josh Jacobs, Pat Mahomes, George Kittle. So notice how before the second round even comes to a close, all the big 3 tight ends have been selected. Normally you see Kelce go Kelsey go like a round before Ertz and Kittle go. So normally Travis Kelsey will go in like the first, the second, and then Ertz and Kittle go in like the third and the fourth. But since this is a bigger league, it kind of makes sense that they may all go near each other. I wouldn't really want to touch Kittle or Ertz at a second round price, but that's just me. So also Patrick Mahomes was selected. He's the first quarterback off the board, but another one is picked in the third round. We'll get to that. So after Mahomes was picked, Kittle went, followed by Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Adam Thielen, Devontae Freeman, Aaron Jones, T.Y. Hilton, Amari Cooper, A.J. Green, Stephen Diggs, David Montgomery, Leonard Fournette, Julian Edelman, Marlon Mack, Deshaun Watson, O.J. Howard, and Brandon Cooks. So 4 tight ends have already came off the board. The third round price for O.J. Howard is far too high, in my opinion. I normally like to wait a little bit longer to draft a guy like that, especially in this kind of 14-team league. And Deshaun Watson's the second quarterback off the board in the third round. Now, I'm not trying to draft any quarterbacks really in the first 4 rounds. I wouldn't even pay that high of a price for Mahomes, really, unless it was a super flex league, which obviously your strategy is going to change. If you want to know anything about Superflex or two quarterback, you can check out my other videos on my channel. I made one, I think, 2 days ago about two quarterback. So it is our pick, and we do have our two running backs, and the running backs are looking kind of whack right now. I still like guys like Kerryon. Kerryon Johnson's the guy I like the most out of any of these guys left, so we may end up going three running backs out of the first 4 picks, which will obviously make our receivers and tight ends worse. But having 3 solid running backs will be advantageous to winning that fantasy championship that I want to bring to all of you guys. That's why you're watching these videos, and that's why you're going to subscribe so that you get all my videos. And you will win your league by doing that. Okay, so we're going to go receiver first. And we're looking down here. Guys like Robert Woods, Kenny Galladay, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, Alshon Jeffrey. So if we don't go a guy here, I don't think that we'll even like the receivers later. Like if we were to just go running back, tight end here, like if we were to pick Kerryon Johnson and then pick Hunter Henry, then we wouldn't end up with any receivers that I even like. Or I do like them, but obviously I would not be very comfortable with them being our wide receiver one. So the receiver I like the most out of these guys, I like Kenny Galladay and Robert Woods, Lockett and Godwin a lot, but I do want to go Robert Woods here because I think he's going to finish as the number 1 on the Rams, and I think that he's going to be a solid play, and I'm pretty comfortable with him being my wide receiver 1. I'm a little less confident with Kenny Galladay being the wide receiver 1 on my team because obviously I think that the Detroit Lions may be more likely to try to hammer the rock with Kerryon rather than Stafford throwing it a million times. Even though I think Stafford is going to throw it probably a million times, I'm just a lot more confident with making my pick Robert Woods instead of Galladay, who has potential for Marvin Jones to even do better than him in fantasy this year. That's why I like Marvin Jones later in the drafts. So we're going to go Robert Woods here. After we go Robert Woods, it is our pick again. And we are going to be going Kerryon, like I said, because I want to make sure that I secure 3 good running backs so that I can pretty much guarantee that I'm going to every single week have 2 running backs that are going to be top 10 guys because I already have James Conner and Joe Mixon are most likely every week going to be top 10, top 12 guys. And then Kerryon Johnson's going to be a solid RB2 all year. Sorry, my chair is very squeaky. My bad. Oh gosh, it's being very loud. But Kerryon Johnson is a guy that I like, and I think he could even end up being an RB1 some weeks. And being an RB1 in a 14-team league means being a top 14 running back each and every single week. It's different. If you want to be an RB1 in an 8-team league, it's 8. You've got to be a top 8. In a 10-team league, top 10. 12-team league, top 12. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I don't know if everyone knows what I'm talking about when I'm speaking about being a running back 1 and wide receiver 1, stuff like that. So we'll go Kerryon here. After we go Kerryon, now the thing with picking 14 in a 14-team league is it's even worse than a 12 or a 10 because you're waiting so long to pick, but I do like picking on the swing. But nevertheless, after we went Kerryon Johnson, Kenny Galladay went, followed by Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, Tyreek Hill, Derrick Henry, Tyler Boyd, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, Alshon Jeffrey, Tyler Lockett, Sammy Watkins, Aaron Rodgers, Calvin Ridley, Mike Williams, Jarvis Juice Landry, James White, Sony Michel, Philip Lindsay, Darius Guice, DK Metcalf, Robbie Anderson, Mark Ingram, Dante Pettis, Tariq Cohen, Kenyon Drake, Andrew Luck. So out of these picks after where I went Kerryon Johnson, I could talk about a few guys. So first guy I want to talk about here, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek is a guy that if you're picking him in the fourth round and he only gets suspended 4 games or even gets no games because he tries to delay it to next year, tries to pull his Zeke, try to delay that shit, then he could be a steal in the fourth round. Or even if he only gets 4 games, he may end up being a steal. But if he ends up getting like 8 games, I'm not willing to pay the fourth round draft capital. So that's why I'd never really pick him in box. Another guy I want to talk about, Allen Robinson. I don't necessarily hate Allen Robinson, but I think picking him in the fourth round is just flat out dumb. That's like a huge reach in my opinion. I like pretty much every single receiver around him. I'm more confident with Tyreek Hill, who may not even play 8 games, than having Allen Robinson drafted in the fourth round. Like all these receivers around him, like Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore, Alshon Jeffrey, Tyler Lockett, Sammy Watkins, Calvin Ridley, Mike Williams, Jarvis Landry, even Robbie Anderson and Dante Pettis, I would be more comfortable having than him. So at the current moment, one, two, three, four tight ends have been picked, and 4 quarterbacks have gone before the fifth round, which is pretty normal. Sometimes you'll see more tight ends being picked, and potentially more quarterbacks. Depending on if you're in your at-home league, you may see Mahomes go in the first round, and a guy like Deshaun Watson going like the third round or even the second round, because people like to get their quarterbacks and don't like to have to stream or feel comfortable having a guy like Matt Ryan as their starting quarterback, where I'm perfectly confidence throwing one of those guys in every single week or streaming the position. So it's our pick, and we need a receiver because we got our 2 running backs, we got our main running back, or we got our 3 running backs. So we're gonna go receiver here. And at this pick, I do like Marvin Jones a lot. I also like Will Fuller a lot, but since we went 3 running backs, going a guy like Will Fuller, who has a lot of injury risk, is not that great of a strategy. But since we only are, we're pretty much going to have carry on in our flex the whole season, unless he was to get hurt. We are going to want to go with some upside here. So we're probably just going to go 2 receivers here and then hammer the running backs later. So I think we're going to go with more safe kind of picks here. Try to go safe. I don't like Corey Davis, so I would not recommend picking him here. Marvin Jones, I said a guy I like late. Yeah, what round are we? We're in the fifth round. I don't really feel too confident drafting him in the fifth round. I like him later than that. But at the same time, he's a guy who I think is going to bounce back from last year and have a great year. So I am confident picking him. Now, a lot of people don't like, since I've carry on, they'll be like, oh, you can't really pick 2 Detroit players. That's not very smart. No, no, no. It's perfectly fine. In my opinion, it's perfectly fine to have that, especially on an offense that, even though their offense is going to probably be pretty good, even though I don't think their defense is that great or that they'll be that great of a team the whole year, but I still think that there's going to be solid opportunity for Marvin Jones to get it done. So Marvin Jones, in my opinion, is more of a safer pick. So we're going to go with a high upside pick. Even though I said I didn't really want to do it, we're going to do it to him, and we're going to do it Will Fuller. Because even though he has that injury risk, because I know that I'm going to start him over Marvin Jones the first 6 weeks of the season until he gets hurt, and just have a top receiver. And then there's going to be guys later at the wide receiver position that I like too. Another guy I may go instead of Will Fuller would have been Sterling Shepard, because of the upside of him being the receiver 1 on the Giants is pretty big for fantasy. Even though they're not that great of an offense, having the number 1 wide receiver on any team is pretty good. That's why a lot of people do like Corey Davis, because he's the number 1 on Tennessee. But Corey Davis on my do not draft list. I wouldn't touch him in the 6th round, in my opinion. But we are going to go Will Fuller here. After we go Will Fuller, let's go to the draft board. After Will Fuller, Hunter Henry goes, followed by Baker Mayfield, Cortland Sutton, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Chris Carson, Russell Wilson, Miles Sanders, Tevin Coleman, Eric Ebron, Jared Cook, Corey Davis, David Njoku, Matty Ice, Sterling Shepard, Lamar Miller, Drew Brees, Cam Newton, N'Keal Harry, Darrell Henderson, Carson Wentz, Big Ben, Kyler Murray, Kiki Kuti, MVS, and Rashad Penny. So now the green is quarterback. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 out of the 14 teams already have quarterbacks, which is kind of typical in your at-home leagues where quarterbacks are going to be flying off the board pretty early, especially in a 14-team league where you pretty much have to draft the backup, in my opinion, because picking up a guy is going to be very hard. And the tight end position also pretty hard to stream, but still possible. How many tight ends have went? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tight ends have been selected off the board already. So 9 out of 14 teams have a tight end, and I'm not included in that or the quarterback one. So if we want to get one of those quarterbacks that we like, we may have to go one of those soon. But we want to get a running back that we like, and the guy that we target in every draft is still here. So that's why we're gonna go him now. It says that Latavius is like a red on the bye because he has the same bye week as bye 9, which is Joe Mixon. So we can't have Latavius and Joe Mixon in the lineup at the same time, or for that week. But we do have Kerryon Johnson and James Conner to play that week, so that's not even something I'm worried about. I could find someone else to put in the flex. So we're gonna go Latavius Murray because of the upside of if Alvin Kamara goes down, he can be a top 14 running back while Alvin Kamara's out, and even while Alvin Kamara's healthy, I'm kind of comfortable starting Latavius as a flex. So we're gonna go Latavius here. After we go Latavius, it is our pick again, and I don't know if I want to draft a quarterback just yet, even though I said how many teams? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of the 14 teams have a quarterback. So if I go quarterback here, I can get the guy I want in Jameis Winston, but I could also wait and go for two quarterbacks I want later, like Dak and Lamar Jackson, or Dak and Josh Allen. Any of those three guys, draft two of them and stream each week, or flip back and forth each week with those guys, which is obviously more risk than going to a guy like Jared Goff in this position. But we're high rollers over here, and we do kind of need a tight end at the moment. Let's see what the tight ends are looking like. We might just wait on tight end like I normally do. Vance is still here, so we're gonna go Vance because of I think that he's probably gonna be he could be a top 5 guy this season, and he has a lot of good upsides, and I like him a lot on the Pittsburgh offense. So without Antonio Brown, so we're gonna go Vance McDonald here. So we're gonna have to wait on quarterback. So after moving Vance McDonald, the draft starts up again, and it is LaShawn McCoy, Jordan Howard, Golden Tate, Kareem Hunt, Chicago defense, Larry Fitz, Damian Harris, James Washington, Jerick McKinnon, D.D. Westbrook, Royce Freeman, Geronimo Allison, Ronald Jones, Deion Lewis, Curtis Samuel, Deshaun Hamilton, McCall Hardman, Matt Breida, Paris Campbell, Jack Doyle, Adam Humphdaddy, Austin Eckler, LA Rams defense, Devin Funchess, Donta Foreman, and Naheem Hines. So as of currently, we have 4 running backs, 3 receivers, and a tight end. You want to make sure that you finish with more running backs than tight ends, and when you need to make sure you get the guys that you want. And I think that if we don't pick the running back that I want here for later, he's gonna go. And even though this is kind of a high draft capital to be going on Peyton Barber, I think Peyton Barber has a lot of upside, and I want to make sure I get him on my team because he could end up being the running back one on that team. I had an argument with someone in the comment section. Not much of an argument. The guy had a solid argument about Rojo and Peyton Barber, the way you can't draft two of them. I normally draft Rojo and Peyton Barber, but I do like Peyton Barber more, as I say in every video. So we are going to get the guy I want, where it's a slight reach at this pick, but I do want to make sure that I get the guy that I want on my team. So we're going to go Peyton Barber. After we go Peyton Barber, it's our pick again, and we're going to look at the receivers, or we're just going to go, because we have 3 bench positions left, quarterback, defense, and kicker position to go. So we need 1 bench spot for our backup quarterback. We don't need a backup tight end, and we probably need a running back and a wide receiver. So we're going to look at the receivers right now, because I think that the running back I want in Jalen Samuels to be my handcuff for James Conner will be there later. So we're going to go at the receiver position. It is looking quite bad, but we do already have some solid guys. So we're going to go with the upside pick of Robert Foster, who could potentially be probably a great flex play every single week. This is a reach in the 10th round, but I think I want to make sure that I get my guys like I said. Or we could just go Jameis here, which is also something we could do. We won't get Jameis on the swing if we don't go Jameis now. So I think going Jameis here is our best option, even though I kind of do want Robert Foster. We'll go Jameis here. After we go Jameis, hopefully Robert Foster and the other running back that I said earlier will be there. So draft board, that's what I want to do. Draft board. Okay. So after we picked Jameis Winston, Anthony Miller, Jalen Samuels got picked. Fuck my ass. Should have went Jalen Samuels. So Dante Moncrief, Jalen Samuels, Deshaun Deshaun Jackson, not Deshaun McCoy. Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson, Michael Gallup, A.J. Brown, Ito, Denver defense, Austin Hooper, Emmanuel Sanders, Tyrell Williams, Delaney Walker, Jimmy Guap. Oh, Jimmy Graham, not Jimmy Guap. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. Larry Lamar Jackson. What am I doing? Adrian Peterson, Kenny Stills, T.J. Hawkinson, Jameson Crowder, Albert Wilson, Kalen Ballage, Alexander Madison, Marquise Goodwin, Mike Davis, Herndon. So it's our pick. And now, like I said at the beginning, the running backs are going to get dry fast in this type of format. So you need to make sure you draft your guys early. I probably should have drafted, what's his name? Probably should have drafted Jalen Samuels over Peyton Barber because Peyton may have fell. But now we can just go for the. Going to go, probably, we need, like I said, we need one spot for a backup quarterback. We need another running back and another receiver. So let's look at the receivers now. Oh wait, let me point something out also. So at the draft board, like I said, that the Bears got picked earlier. The Bears got picked in the 8th round. That's a huge reach in a 14-team league. This guy's not going to have the running back depth to win the championship, picking the Bears this early. Even though he hammered running backs later, I don't think that's worth it. Don't pick the Bears in the 8th round, especially in a 14-team league where it's harder to rebound. Maybe in an 8-team league, it might be more advantageous to have the best defense, but not in a league that's almost double the size of an 8-team league. So it is our pick, like I've stated multiple times, and we need to we're looking receiver, and Robert Foster's still here, so that's what we're going to pick, due to his high upside ability being on the Bills. Obviously, the Bills not a high octane offense, but Josh Allen slings the pigskin, and I think Robert Foster could end up catching multiple 70-yard touchdowns, 50-yard touchdowns from Josh Allen, and he's super fast, and he proved at the end of last season that he's a player. He's a big guy, and he can win you games. We're on Robert Foster here. He's a great flex play for someone who you can find late in the draft. So we're going to go Robert Foster, and that's our pick again. So we need to make sure we get a running back here that, while is not starting now, because none of these guys are starting, is someone who has potential to steal that job. And that's my man, Justice Hill. Justice Hill, talked about a lot in the fantasy community due to the fact that no one likes fucking Mark Ingram. That guy's terrible. No one wants him. And we do want Justice Hill, though, because he could potentially be the number 1 guy or the number 2 guy on such a run-heavy offense. And that could obviously prove to get you a shit ton of points if you're on such a run-heavy offense like Baltimore. So Justice Hill's a pick where you're not going to be able to start him for multiple weeks. Obviously, he's a guy you're going to stash on your bench. And probably a guy you shouldn't drop, but you may even end up dropping. That's what it is when you're drafting guys at the back of the draft. Droppable. But we're going to go Justice Hill. After we go Justice Hill, now it's going to take 8 years if you're in a real draft to pick, but obviously it's going to do it fast because we're playing against the computer. But after we pick Justice Hill and Robert Foster, Chris Thompson comes off the board, followed by Devontae Parker, G. Reg Olson, Marquise Brown, Trey Burton, Jared Goff, Noah Fant, Devin Singletary, Dak, Kyle Rudolph, Phillip Rivers, Jamal Williams, Kirk Cousins, Jalen Richard, C.J. Anderson, T.J. Yeldon. Oh my God, I've never even heard of this guy. Divine Ozigbo, Jacksonville Jaguars, Darwin Thomas, Trey Quinn, Kenneth Dixon, Mohamed Sanu, Malcolm Brown, Rex Burkhead, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Quincy Enunwa. So we are going to go with backup quarterback because, like I said, you may want to draft a backup quarterback in a bigger league because it's harder to get the guy you want off the waiver wire. So we're going to go with the high upside of Josh Allen. Now, I would kind of like to go safer and maybe go for a guy like Brady, who isn't going to have huge upside, but does have a solid floor. But since the Patriots have been more run heavy recently, I'm not as into Brady. And Brady's not going to fall to the 13th round in your at home draft. He's probably going to be going in like the 5th, 6th round because of his name. He's the GOAT, as many proclaim, and even I think. But that doesn't really matter in fantasy, the fact that he's the GOAT or not. But a lot of guys view him highly because of that. His Super Bowls and all that gets ingrained into people's brains. So they're going to go Brady in like the 5th or 6th round, and you're just going to laugh at him because he's probably not going to be a top 14. He's not even going to be a quarterback 1 this season, in my opinion. So we're going to go Josh Allen here for streaming in and out Jameis Winston, Josh Hill. So we got 2 picks left and we're going defense and kicker. So I'm going to go kicker first and then explain to you how to pick a defense since the best kickers are still on the board. Normally, Greg Zerline or any of those kickers is going to get picked earlier because people think that picking a defense highly or a kicker highly makes sense. I'm going to explain to you how to pick defense now after I explain who else was picked. So I'm not going to name off the kickers or defenses, but Tom Brady went, Mitch Trubisky, Elijah McGuire, and John Brown. Elijah McGuire is a guy that I don't necessarily think is going to do all that much this year, but Adam Gase doesn't like Le'Veon Bell, so that is a thing to worry about if you're drafting Le'Veon Bell. So when you're picking a defense, what you're going to want to do is go on to Google and then type in NFL schedule week 1, and then you're going to pick the best defense against the shittiest offense. Whatever defense is playing a shitty offense, that's what you want. But I'm also going to make a video about that, so please subscribe and click the notification bell to get notified for that video in August, closer to draft season. So we are going to be going with the top ranked defense here because I haven't done the research of which team is playing a shitty offense week 1, but we'll just go with the Seahawks here. So after we go to Seahawks, our draft is over. So we got a B plus 87/100, which means nothing. But our lineup is our quarterback, Jameis Winston, 2 running backs, Joe Mixon, James Conner. Our receivers are Robert Woods and Marvin Jones. Our tight end is Vance McDonald. Our flex is Carry-On. Defense, the Seahawks. Kicker, Greg Zuerlein, which doesn't really matter. Our bench is Will Fuller, Latavius Murray, Peyton Barber, Robert Foster, Justice Hill, and Josh Allen. So thank you guys all for watching the video. Please click that subscribe button. Like I said, click the notification bell to get notified for the daily videos that I post every single day. You're going to see double uploads, triple uploads, certain days, depending on how much work I can get done. And also, please make sure to leave a like and leave a comment about anything in the video. So have a great day, guys, and I'll see you on Thursday. Goodbye, guys.